By its very nature, reality TV thrusts ordinary people into a white-hot spotlight, then sends them home to obscurity. Here are some former household names who died in relative anonymity after their brief brush with fame. Vincent Margera, the man formerly known as Don Vito on the smash MTV series Jackass and various spin-offs, left behind a legacy just as troubled as that of his nephew, Brandon Bam Margera.
I know Mexican.
It's not Mexican, it's Spanish, and you don't know Spanish.
I know uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
Both were fan favorites known for partaking in, and sometimes being the victims of, outrageous pranks, and both had a dark side underneath their surface goofiness. In the case of Bam, his issues finally got him ejected from the Jackass team in 2021. As for Vincent, he disappeared from the franchise in 2007 after he was found guilty of sexually assaulting 2 underage girls during a public appearance the year before.
I want what I had. I want to be made whole again. Give me what the hell I had and leave me the hell alone.
As a condition of his probation, he was forbidden from using his mush-mouth Don Vito persona for 10 years, which, as it turned out, was enough to constitute a lifetime ban. In 2015, it was reported that Margera, who'd been dealing with liver and kidney-related health issues for quite some time, had fallen into a coma from which he never recovered. He died in November of that year at the age of 59. Debuting on A&E in 2012, Shipping Wars detailed the lives of and competition between heavy-duty shippers, those who take on the task of transporting extraordinarily huge, unwieldy, or otherwise unshippable items. Like most unusual professions, the world of heavy-duty shipping attracts some unique personalities. And among fans of Shipping Wars, one of the most beloved was Roy Garber.
You need to take a deep breath. It's like a bubble bath for your mind.
The New Hampshire native was good at his job, quick with a quip, and almost always in the company of his cat Muffy. Garber endeared himself to viewers with his pragmatic approach to navigating weird situations, but shortly after completing the show's 5th season, he found a situation he couldn't handle.
I'm as close to God as you're ever going to get.
Apparently, Garber had been managing a heart condition, and it was reported in January 2014 that he died after suffering a heart attack at 49 years old. A loving tribute to him was posted on the series' Facebook page, and to answer the question on every fan's mind at the time, reports less than a week after his death indicated that Muffy was on her way back to New Hampshire to live with Garber's mother. The very premise of ABC's The Bachelor and its spin-off The Bachelorette means the twin series are veritable broken heart factories. After all, out of the hopeful romantics to court the show's rose-bearing stars each season, only one can emerge victorious, and even the victor doesn't necessarily get their happy ending once the cameras stop rolling. Sadly, in the case of Gia Allemand, she was neither the victor nor, even years after being a contestant on season 14 of The Bachelor, was there a happy ending. After finishing 3rd in the competition in 2010, Allemand went on to date NBA player Ryan Anderson. In August 2013, they had an argument, after which Anderson broke up with Allemand before dropping her off at home. She left a brief note before attempting to take her own life. Alerted to a possible problem by Allemand's mother, Anderson returned to find her. While she initially survived, she was taken off life support days later. Anderson would later tell Sports Illustrated that the tragedy had prompted him to realize that perhaps he could do more than play basketball, saying, "I've been given a platform in the NBA. People need to put a face to the issue of death by suicide, and I'm okay being that face." The OWN reality series Love and Marriage, Huntsville has a more interesting premise than its title might suggest. It follows the lives of 3 black married couples who form a real estate company aimed at revitalizing the titular Alabama city. While negotiating the ups and downs of the notoriously cutthroat real estate business, they must also navigate the sometimes rough waters of marriage. Among the series' cast, Keke Jabbar seemed perhaps the most cut out for television, with a sometimes bombastic personality that catered to reality fans' thirst for the dramatic.
If I'm talking, then shut up and listen.
Joining the cast in 2023, she quickly became a fan favorite, but her stint on the show was short-lived due to a freak accident. In July 2024, Jabbar's cousin and fellow cast member Letitia Scott announced on social media that Jabbar had died, and shortly thereafter, the unfortunate details emerged. Jabbar's friend, YouTuber Joanne Jenkins, shared on a live stream that Jabbar, who apparently had a habit of taking cat naps in odd places, had fallen asleep in her car with the engine running and had died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Jenkins emphasized that her friend's death had been accidental. Jabbar was 42 years old. she left behind her husband, Amin, and 3 children. American Idol has been a pop culture mainstay for nearly a quarter century, so it's easy to forget just how electrified audiences were in its inaugural season in 2002. The hopefuls auditioning in front of Randy Jackson, Paula Abdul, and the terrifying Simon Cowell ran the gamut from wacky non-talents to genuine vocal powerhouses. Falling into the latter category alongside eventual winner Kelly Clarkson was Nikki McKibbin, whose punk style and petite frame were an unlikely package for a voice that was pure pop perfection.
Welcome to Hollywood.
McKibbin competed valiantly but placed 3rd behind Clarkson and Justin Guarini. She went on to appear on a handful of other reality series and dropped an album, Unleashed, in 2007. But in October 2020, her husband, Craig Sadler, took to Facebook to inform fans that his wife had suffered a brain aneurysm and was on life support so that her organs could be harvested to help others in need, in accordance with her wishes. Just 42 years old, McKibbin's death prompted an outpouring of grief from her fellow Idol alumni, including Guarini, who wrote on Instagram, "Thank you for the laughter, merciless teasing, strength, vulnerability, love, and friendship you showed me during our time together in the spotlight." Debuting in 2018 as a spin-off of the drag racing competition series Street Outlaws, Discovery Channel's Street Outlaws No Prep Kings followed race master Chuck Seitzinger and his team. Led by racing veteran Pat Musi and his daughter Lizzy, they put alumni from the flagship series through their paces on the No Prep tracks, which are rough, rugged, and untreated courses meant to give racers the ultimate challenge. Pretty, tough, and capable, Lizzy Musi became a breakout favorite on the series, but her time in the spotlight was tragically short. In April 2023, Musi posted to Instagram that she'd been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer that had spread to her lymph nodes and liver. Just a couple weeks later, she posted a photo of herself with her head shaved bald, along with a message. "Some days are tough to look in the mirror, but there are days where I feel stronger than ever." Despite treatment, Lizzy Musi died in 2024 at age 33. Taking to Facebook in June of that year, her father Pat informed fans of her death, writing, "Surrounded by her family and the comfort of her own home, Lizzy was called to heaven at 11:25 p.m. tonight. Thank you for all the prayers and support throughout her battle." For 2 seasons in 2014 and 2015, Bravo's Blood, Sweat, and Heels took viewers inside the lives of high-powered women in New York City's ridiculously exclusive worlds of fashion, real estate, and publishing. An absolute shark in that last category, Daisy Lewellyn was a media big shot, the type to dub herself the queen of effortless chic. A former editor for publications like Essence, Glamour, and InStyle, Lewellyn was also a published author and had no trouble segueing neatly into reality television with her larger-than-life personality. In a 2015 interview with Madame Noir, Lewellyn confirmed that she'd been diagnosed with stage 3 liver cancer, saying, "It's a super rare type of cancer, like nobody gets it. Leave it to me to get the exclusive, rare cancer. I'm not afraid to go to heaven, but I would like to stay on Earth if I can. If it's my time to go, then I can say that I had a great life."
I'm not gonna let cancer come in and steal the spotlight. Right now, I'm gonna do everything I can to live my best life.
That time came just a year later. In April 2016, Bravo confirmed via a statement that Lewellyn had lost her battle. The statement read, "Daisy passed on in peace and filled with joy, surrounded by her family and friends. We are all saddened to lose this wonderful woman." Airing in 2014, the 10th season of The Bachelorette began with a very unusual segment, a tribute to a man and contestant viewers had yet to meet, 31-year-old Eric Hill. A ruggedly handsome adventurer, Hill, who'd been documenting a trip around the globe on his Instagram page, had been paragliding in the mountains of Utah when tragedy struck. Hill's chute had failed to open properly, and his injuries were so severe that he lapsed into a coma from which he never awoke. The tragic incident had taken place after his elimination from the show, but before the season aired, which left producers in an unprecedented and uncomfortable position. Appearing on The View in advance of the season premiere, then-host Chris Harrison admitted that he still didn't know how the show was going to handle Hill's death. In the end, they chose not to edit him out, but instead to acknowledge the tragedy to viewers up front, a decision that Harrison later explained more fully on his blog, writing, "First step was to obviously honor him at the top of the show. The start was to at least acknowledge it there, and then honestly, we're still figuring it out. We're still dealing with the day-to-day of how to best respectfully and honorably include him in the show, but at the same time, not sensationalize it and make it anything that it wasn't. TLC's 90 Day Fiancé focuses on long-distance couples from different countries, giving them a chance to make their relationships work face-to-face. The non-US based participants are given 90-day visas to come to the States to live with their significant others, at the end of which the couples either get married or head for Splitsville. Appearing on the show's second season in 2014, Jacent Hitch was one of its success stories, at least for a short time. He married his fiancée, Brazilian Keke Jabbar, at the conclusion of the season.
I don't think I'm going to sleep at all for the next 90 days because I'm going to be walking around thinking, what do I have to do today to keep her happy?
However, the relationship didn't last, and the couple divorced in 2018. But in 2021, as the COVID-19 pandemic raged around the globe, Hitch made the decision to not take advantage of the newly available vaccines. In December, his sister Shannon Spiegel took to Facebook to announce that her brother had died of complications from COVID-19 at the age of 45. Spiegel wrote, "Despite my frustrations and differing viewpoints, I loved him very much and only wanted the best for him. Politics aside, please consider the absolute grief that now exists within my family and do what's necessary to protect you and others." 16 and Pregnant focused on teenagers who'd gotten themselves into the most adult situation possible. Additional questionable decisions, screaming matches, and even domestic violence were all on display, and the series offered up some of the most disturbing things to ever happen on reality shows. As one might guess, several of the series' young stars continued to endure extremely tough lives after their stints on the show, and perhaps none more so than Valerie Fairman, who was actually only 15 when she appeared on the show's second season in 2010.
It's your baby, Matt. Just get it through your head. We had sex a lot.
Fairman's tumultuous relationship with her boyfriend was a focus of her episode, and after her appearance on the show, it became clear that her volatile personality was no act. Fairman was arrested in 2011 for assaulting her adoptive mother, was in and out of jail over the ensuing 2 years for various crimes, and was arrested for sex work in 2015. Fairman also had issues with substance abuse and was ultimately unable to get clean, despite numerous stints at rehab. In 2016, it was reported that Fairman had died from an overdose while at a friend's house. She was just 23 years old. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, is dealing with domestic abuse, has been a victim of sexual assault, or is struggling or in crisis, contact the relevant resources below: the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website, or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP, 1-800-662-4357.